Hello, welcome to this session. I'm George, Mr. Osimbo George, and I want to take you through developing performance criteria weighting tool. So by the end of this session, you should be able to develop a PC weighting tool successfully. So in your knowledge, in conventional learning, you've interacted with what is called table of specifications. The document that clearly detail the weight of marks in a subtopic, or rather also in a certain topic. So here in CBET, we use what is called PC weighting tool. These are documents that will help you know how success is defined in an area of competence, and we are going to see how this comes about. There are a number of factors that are to be put into considerations in PC weighting. You have to look at is it knowledge-based or performance-based PC? Does it involve critical or non-critical aspects? If it's a practical, does it involve product or process? Is there any creativity level that is required to accomplish a certain task? Or what are the number of tasks that are involved in the performance criteria? So we are going to see how these factors are considered. But before we do that, let's look at these guidelines. These guidelines have been provided by the TVET CDAC on how to distribute marks between theory and practical assessments. You can see the levels there. These are the levels. You can see level 6, diploma level, 5, certificate, artisan, and you can see the marks allocation for theory. In diploma, you can see 50% should be awarded, and for practical 50% should be added. So there is a ratio of 1:1. So in all the assessments in that area of competency, 50% should be awarded to theory and 50% for practical. So it goes all through this way for level 5, level 4, level 3, with these marks allocations and the ratios that are considered. So this one will help us as we are going to develop our performance criteria weighting tool. So if you are developing for level 6, then you have to observe these provisions. If you are developing for level 5, you have to observe these provisions that are in this guideline. So this is the template for the performance criteria weighting. It has a unit here, and then the unit code. These ones will find them in the OS, the occupational standards, and you can also see the elements. These ones also you'll get from the occupational standard. The ranking of the element, we are going to do this together. The weight of that element, we're going to look at that. And then there's these that are highlighted. I'm going to tell you why I have highlighted it. The weight of element by a factor. And then this is the weighting of the element for theory and practical, the one that we just said. So the ratios will really help you here. We're going to look about that. And then the performance criteria, these ones are in the occupational standards. You just lift them from the occupational standards and paste them here. And then the weighting of the PC, so you can see the theory and practical. So here it's upon you to look at these performance criteria. How many marks or the marks that this performance criteria can hold. Is it a theory or a practical? There's a practical, does it involve some practical aspects? and if yes, how many marks can you award here, and also in the part of theory, how many marks can you award here. So we're going to look into all this. Let's open one of the occupational standards and also the template for the PC weighting. Yes, so here we are. I've selected the occupational standards for medical laboratory technologists, and on this other side we have the sample of our PC weighting. So we want to develop this. First is a performance based, and we're going to use the critical aspects first of all to look into this. So here you go with me, you can look at any area here. These are the core units of competency. There are so many here. You can choose any. There are so many here. I can decide to choose manage medical laboratory samples. I pick this, that here. So the unit is manage medical laboratory samples. You just copy that and then paste it here. The unit is manage medical laboratory samples, and then the unit code is also provided here. Just copy it and paste it there. It's indicated here. Now we go to the elements. You can clearly see the elements here. Element 1, element 2, element 3, element 4. Yeah, so these are 4 elements. So you just copy this first element, you paste it here, second, third, all through. So and we can do that. Yes, so we have them here. You can see element 1, prepare patient for sample collection, is here. So the subtotal for element here is 1, and then element 2, collect lab samples. The subtotal there is 2, and then the next one is dispatch laboratory samples. That's number 3, and then manage sample handling. There is number 4, manage sample handling laboratory unit. So this one will be our number 4, subtotal 4. There we are. Then just come all through to performance criteria here. So these ones are in the operation, the occupational standards. Here they are, the performance criteria. Just copy them here and then paste them in these sections. So you copy, for example, this is 1.1, copy 1.1 here, the next 1.2, 1.3, all the way until you you ensure that you copy all of them. And so we can also do that. Yes, so as you can see, we've managed to copy and paste the PC performance criteria from the OS to our to this section here in our weighting tool. You can see element 1 has all these that are here up to 1.5, element 2 from 2.1 sample collection. So just copy them here. I think it's a very easy task. Very easy task, like that. After you've done that, then it's very perfect. So we said that we are going to use the critical aspects to do the weighting. So on using the critical aspects, you come here, come to your OS, scroll all through the place where you'll get the evidence guide, the critical aspects of competency. So these are very critical. There are 11 of them. Let me just copy them here, then show you how we are going to look at. Or let me just leave them here, and then we are going to compare them one by one. So you look at your task here in your element 1. There are the tasks. Look at each task, compare it with what is in the critical aspects. So let us start. Patient 1.1 is patients received according to laboratory requirements. Come here. Do you see any statement like that? Received and according to the, these are patient's request form. So here patient has not been received, so element 1 is not in the critical aspects. You come to element 2. Request form is received and interpreted according to lab standard requirements. You can see here received and correctly interpreted patient request form. So which means we have one critical aspect that falls in element 1. So I'll just highlight it so that it's indicated that it has been identified. Highlight this, it will help us later. You move to the next one. Laboratory samples are determined according to required tests. Come here again, check if that is captured in the critical aspects. Identified and explain sample collection procedures. So if you check through, you realize that that one, where is it? Identified and explain sample collection procedures. Here is laboratory samples are determined according to identified and assembled. Check through, it's not there. You come to task 3. Sample collection procedures are identified and shared as per standard procedures. Sample collection procedures are identified. Sample collection procedures are identified. So you can see identified and explain sample collection procedures. So this one is here. It is in the identified. Sorry. Identify those procedures. You move to the next task. The next task, the consent from the patient is obtained according to ethical standards. Are you seeing any consent here as a critical aspect? There is no consent. So as you can see here, in our PC, only two tasks are captured in our critical aspects. So you just note that somewhere, that element 1 has 2 critical aspects. Note that somewhere, it will help us. So you do that all through for all the elements, and so you can also do that. Yes, so as you can see, all the critical aspects that are captured in each and every element have been indicated here. So just go through it. We said that in element 1 we've captured 1, 2, 3. The consent from the patient it's obtained according to ethical standards. That one is demonstrated here. You can see some ethical standards here. So there were 3, not 2. So there are 3. Element 2, we have 1, 2, 3 also. Element 3, we have 1. Element 4. Element 4, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Element 4, we have 4. If you sum up the total, you realize that they sum up to 11, which are the 11 critical aspects of competence. I'll tell them that the 11 here. Good. So we can do away with this. We've now obtained what we want. We can do away with we can do away with declaration. And black highlighting. Yeah, so here we are, just to demonstrate whatever we've just done. Let's just open a new document. So we've said that element, then critical, we use critical aspect there. So we say that element 1, sorry, just a minute, that you just list what we've just done, element 1 and those critical aspects that are there. So here they are, element 1 they add 3, element 2 add 3, element 3 add 1, element 4 add 4. So what we now want to do is, now we want to do ranking. Now how can we rank these elements using critical aspects? How can we do that? So you can clearly see the one that has more critical aspects here, this one is ranked the highest of the 4 elements. This one is ranked the highest because it has the highest number of critical aspects. Don't look at this pattern, that 4, 4, 4, no. It's just because there are a total of 4 elements and element 4 has more critical aspects captured, so it ranks number 4. Next you can see 3s here. So one of these will rank, you can see they have the same critical aspect, so it's very difficult to know which one is number 3 and which one is number 2. But now for the sake, I'm going to tell you how what to do there. For the sake, let's use that as number 2, number 3. Either of them can be number 3 or 2, so I'm going to tell you how to differentiate them. So here the list here is now ranked number 1. So you can see here element 1 and element 2, they have they have the same critical they capture the same, equal amount of critical aspects are captured in them. So for you to get their ranking here, you get let me go down here, sorry. You can see that one has 3 critical aspects, the other one has also 3 critical aspects. So you take 3 make that addition, you will get 6. So you take 6 and then divide by that 6 by 1. Sorry, there are two, element 1 and element 2. So you divide that 6 by oh sorry, I've just captured, just a minute please, sorry about that. Let me just get over it again so that you get it. You can clearly see that element 1 and element 2 are sharing the third position, and they're not supposed to share it because you have to rank, clearly give them a ranking, and so we've presumed that one of them has to capture rank 2, has to be in rank number 2, and then another one has to be rank number 3 here. You can see them here and here. So this one will give you a total of 5. So there are 2, you get the average. So 5 divided by 2 will give you 2.5. So we'll say that this one is 2.5, then this is also 2.5. That is their ranking. So if they could have been, if for example element 1, 2 and 3 could have been sharing same position, you just look at the ranks that they were supposed to take, add them up, and then find the average, divide it by 3. Here the case was 2 of them. You find the one of them was supposed to have rank number 2, the other one was supposed to have rank number 3. So you sum them up and then you get the average. You divide by the number of elements that are sharing that critical aspect. So 2.5. So here we'll use 2.5, then 1, then number 4. So we are just going to put these rankings in our PC weighting tool, the other side. So here we are, we've ranked them, the rankings. These are 2.5, number 3 number is 1, then element 4 has been ranked as number 4. So we are in our next column, the weighting of this element. So in the weighting of element, this column here, the formula that we're going to use. Let me just set that. So the weighting of element. The weighting of element, we are going to take the weight of that element and call it, look at the weight, or I mean the, you can call it the ranking. You are going to look at the ranking or the rank of that element, divide that by the total number of ranks. Total number of rankings. Then you multiply this by 100. In some context, you'll be told that it's the nth rank divided by the total number of ranks times 100. But just look at it like this. This is a bit simpler. So for element 1, it is 2.5. So element 1, we will take 2.5 divide by, you look at here, 2.5 plus 2.5, that is 5. 5 plus 1, 6. 6 plus 4 is 10. So divide it by 10. Then multiply it by 100. So what do you get? Do that mathematics, you'll get 25. So you come here and say that the weight of this is 25%. So this tells you that all the questions that you set that target this element, all of them should add up to 25% of the total in that paper. I mean, this one is also, if you do the math, you'll get 25%. Do the math here. Here you will get 10%, and then here you'll get 40%. Good. So we are good to go. We've gotten that. So we are here, the weight of element by factor. So now I want to explain to you what happens here. It can be, I highlighted it in my PowerPoints, and I promised that I'll explain to you why I highlighted it. So this section here can be included under certain circumstances, which means it can also be omitted when everything is favorable. So this what comes about. For example, in an event whereby for example, in element 3, you look at the weight. This is the one that has the least weight. So in a situation whereby it had let's say not 10, the weight is indicated, but it has for example 0.5. Sometimes you can get calculation that gives you a weight of 0.5. So you know you cannot set an exam, or let's say, okay, in this element you have 3 aspects here. You cannot set an exams under 3 aspects that will total to 0.5. This is impossible. So in this case, you'll have your 0.5 there as your weight. In this case, you look for a factor that you can multiply this 0.5 by that factor to give you a reasonable figure that when you set your exams, you can easily distribute your marks accordingly. So and then you do that with respect to the number of tasks here, because you are going to distribute those marks here in this section. So you can say that you can give it a factor, you can multiply this is the factor for you to distribute that marks for 3 tasks. Let's say you can multiply it by 10 or even 20. Let me say 20. It will give you 10. Yeah, it arrives to 10. So if it gives you 10, you can easily distribute those marks here. So this 20, this factor that you've done, you've multiplied this one with 20. You come here and multiply the entire of this. So for let me use this as an example. For element 1 here, you come and multiply 25 by 20 and then get a value here. This weight by that factor, write your value here. This by that factor, write your value here. But in this our situation, we realize that these marks can be well distributed here. These marks, all of these marks can be well distributed. So these are our weighting as captured. So you can so we delete it, sorry, we just delete it. Yeah, so it is deleted. Now we have our ranks and the weighting of these elements. Now there's something that we said about dealing with the diploma level. When you're doing your PC weighting, you give a ratio of 1-to-1 in terms of theory and practical. So here, half of these marks will go for theory, half of these marks will go for practical. So for theory there you'll get 12.5, then practical you'll have a total of 12.5%. Here also 12.5%. You come here, you'll have 5%. Here you also have 5%. Half of 40. Sorry. Half of 40. Here you'll have 20%. And also 20%. So the next thing is the weighting of PCs. We are going to distribute marks here now. You can see theory and practical. So for theory, we are supposed to distribute this 12.5 in all these tasks. Among all these tasks, this 12.5 will be distributed. So you look at patient is received according to laboratory requirements. You look at the theory aspects that is considered in these tasks and the practical aspects that is considered in these tasks. Then you ask yourself, to what degree does the theory and practical are involved in that task? Then you give reasonable marks. So this is according to you. You just look at it by yourself. You don't refer to anywhere. Just look at it by yourself and then decide on the marks that you are supposed to allocate. Right. So this is how I've just distributed. Here I've just distributed for theory 1.5 marks. Request form task 2 marks, 0. Practical here is 2%. For task 3 I've given its laboratory samples are determined. It's a bit core. I've given it higher marks, 4 for theory, and I've given it higher marks, 5 for practical. And you can also see here also sample collection procedures, 2 for theory. You have to know some procedures there, and then 3 for practical. So you can really see where I've given more marks requires more. It requires a lot of, for example, in practical aspects, it requires a lot of practical aspects here. This also requires a lot of practical aspects. So if you add all these 1.5, 2, 4, 2, you'll get a subtotal of 12.5. Okay, so then it's 12.5. Just bold it. Then here is also 12.5. So you can see your ratio 1-to-1 is now observed. So you've distributed all these so nicely in each and every task. So you do all that for all these tasks for each element. Yes, so we've allocated these marks. You can see how they'll be distributed. You've also done yours. They don't exactly, they don't, it's not a must that they be exactly the same as mine. So just do that, distribute the marks like that. At the total, you can see that. You can see for each element is that. So since we've done that, we come to this totaling here. For these totals, you look for the total rank, the ranking of the totals. You sum up all those. Okay, so you'll find that there, 10. And for the, go back here, for the weighting of element, you take 25 plus 25, that is 50, plus 10, that is 60, plus 40, that is 100. You come here also for the theory weighting of the element. For the theory, 12.5 plus 12.5, that is 25. 25 plus 5, 25 plus 5, that is 30. 30 plus 20 gives you 50. Put it there. It was ratio 1 to 1. You also add for the practical, you'll get 50. Then you come here also, do the same. You look at the subtotal for element 4 is 20. 20 plus 5 plus 12.5 plus 12.5, you'll get 50. If you add all those, you'll get 50. For this case, the same you do here. You add all this for practical, you will get 50. So you can clearly see that the ratio is 1 to 1. So we've actually developed our PC weighting tool. So you see how beautiful this tool is. You can easily go out with it and allocate marks. You can look at element 1 if the student or the learner is showing some competency, and use this criteria. So anyone can award marks using this tool. So thank you very much for your time. I'm wishing you all the best as you develop various performance criteria weighting tools. Bye bye.